Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. I'm so glad that you've decided to join our show and to watch Meet the Author podcast. We always have on so many interesting authors. Tonight we have Ken Stark, and you're going to really enjoy him. And also, if you're not watching live tonight, if you're just watching the podcast later, thank you for doing that. And if you're just listening to the podcast later on, we're so glad that you did. Continue to tune in.
Yeah. And I think there's probably people sitting right now wondering why there are two ghosts and a flashlight looking at them.
Okay. So for those of you who watched the show last week, know that we had on, wait a minute, we've got a comment already. Oh, James.
Hey.
James Rickett, he's here with a new computer.
Got your new computer.
That's always
That's
tough,
good deal.
isn't
Welcome
it?
back.
Yeah. But it's tough to figure out how to use it.
Well, that's for sure.
Anyway, if you were watching last week, we had our station manager was on, who's also a paranormal investigator, Marjorie Deering,
Hi,
President
Marjorie.
Accounted For. She saw that show, and so she saw this whole thing that we talked about, the flashlights. So we often communicate with entities or spirits or whatever you want to say with flashlights. And I think that maybe people thought that we had the flashlight turned on and then we asked them to turn the flashlight off. That is not the case.
That's the reverse.
We have a flashlight set up like this, maybe not two ghosts holding it, but it is set up. And what we have are these really cheap little flashlights that you can buy in like gas stations used to sell them and stuff. They're hard to find now because mostly they're those push ones in the back. We buy these because we can turn it off just so it's really close and they don't have to work so hard to turn it on. And so when we talk with entities, we just have the flashlight sitting there and we'll say, is there anyone that would like to speak with us? If you would, please turn on the flashlight. And you'd be amazed how many times unseen people turn on the flashlight. So if the flashlight, I've had these on now since 3:30 our time, and it's now 5 after 7 our time.
So the scientific theory is that heat builds up in it. And it turns it on, or turns it off.
But
right?
it's not making a connection. So I'm not sure how that works.
There's no connection, so there's no heat building up in there.
Yeah. And also, one of our team members, Les, always counts. He always counts to see.
Make sure it's not
how much.
yeah,
it's not on and off at the same time all the time. So anyway,
like a short circuit.
Enough about that. We'll leave that on there. If somebody comes in to visit and turns on the flashlight, you'll all be part of a little investigation. It'll be fun.
Go. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Voice of Indie podcast right after our show on blogtalkradio.com, Beam Weeks and Stephen Gary G's. Go there and you can even see how to communicate on the show. You can comment on the show. That's every Wednesday right after our show. Tonight's guest, I guess, is A.K. Wingler. And this Saturday, Marjorie's going to be on.
Again.
Marjorie's going to be on Episode Rewind.
Hey, Marjorie,
Saturday,
it's going to be your
September 3rd.
rewind.
That's this coming Saturday, 5:30 p.m., right where you are watching right now. You'll be able to hear about her series, the Ray Schiller series. And I believe there's 6. Last count I had was 6 books in that
Marjorie
series.
will let us know.
I know she will. Next Wednesday, September 7th at 7 o'clock, we have another live show. Title of it's Understanding the Importance of God, the Family, and Wealth. Should be interesting. Poet, producer, author Annie Miles is going to be on, and she's the founder of the nonprofit organization Family, Wealth, and Success Corporation. Now, you may be wondering why we have eyeballs on our shirts.
Oh, And Marjorie says, yay, that she's going to be on the rewind on Saturday. And there are 7. Not
7
6,
books. Okay.
7 books.
Sorry, I miscounted. Anyway, these T-shirts here, the Endangered Earthlings Handbook.
Yeah.
It's a book by Pamela Erickson, and Paul Hollis has a hand in that as well. But I wanted to read one of the reviews of the book that I had overlooked before. I didn't realize it. The book is about sustainable lifestyles, and it says, I enthusiastically recommend the Endangered Earthlings Handbook for anyone who cares about our planet. I guess that's everybody, right? This book, with science at its core, is a unique combination of passion, practical solutions, and personal stories, which point us the way to caring for Mother Earth. And that was a review by Matthew Dowd, the chief political analyst for ABC News. Yikes.
It's a pretty good review.
That's a real good review for, from somebody that's, in the know there in that area. So anyway, enough of this. Why don't we get on to our
Let's bring Ken
guest. Ken, why don't you come on in and join us?
Really excited to see him.
Hi, Ken.
Ken.
Guys.
All the way live from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yes, sir.
So, Ken, you want to tell us why you started writing and when you started writing?
Oh, I started writing when I was a kid. Like, some of my earliest memories are sitting on the edge of the bed with a notepad scribbling things. They were never good. They were never finished. So they never went anywhere. It was just always something I wanted to do. I wanted to emulate, especially Rod Serling at that age, because Twilight Zone was in reruns. It was monstrous. Night Gallery was just as great.
Yeah.
So I just want to be able to create worlds like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's why a lot of us, I think, got into writing, because we admired people. James says, greetings, Ken.
James. Hey, James. How you doing, James?
I believe that he is doing well.
Yes, he
and
is.
Want to tell people a little bit about the genre that you write in? I mean, we've got it on the ticker, right? Multi-award winner horror author.
Yeah. I like the scary stuff. When I was a kid, we were in the middle of mutual assured destruction. Every movie had, elements of nuclear war and Holocaust. Even Star Trek, this bright, beautiful future, they had to go through World War III. So I guess it's ingrained in me. Maybe because I grew up in that era, that's the kind of story I liked. So that's what I read. So that's what I write, because that's what I like.
Yeah.
So anything that scares, I do put heart in it. Like there's always a tone of family, friendship, helping each other, faith, hope. So it's not simply,
horror,
someone being tortured to death. It's, there's some heart behind everything I write.
That's good. So there's
but I still want to give you nightmares.
Oh, good. This is one of your followers, Joseph Carabas. Hello, Ken, aka at Penniless Scribe. Good to finally assign a voice to a tweet.
There you go.
Good to see you, Joseph.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Yeah, but that's what I told the audience last week. I said, if you've been around for a while, Ken, because we've all been retweeting each other.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Though now we're all using bots, so I'm not sure who's reading any of the
I don't know. The machines have taken over for ours.
I can tell you I never use a bot. If I retweet.
For you.
Yeah.
That is.
Well, if we don't answer you, if you ask us something on Twitter, we may not see it for a while.
We do on our Facebook pages.
We do, more active on the Facebook.
And you can always message us.
Yeah, and LinkedIn. Yeah.
And email us. There are a lot of ways to get in touch with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than Twitter. James says, isn't that the truth? Voice to the tweet. That, it is, Joseph and James, that is exactly why we said we'd do this podcast when we were talked to about it. Because we wanted people to be able to see the person that they were reading and who was writing all the books that they enjoyed. And it's been great. It's been so much fun to meet everybody.
So did you ever, a lot of people have obstacles they have to overcome to get started on their first book. Did you have any major obstacles or anything interesting in your first book production?
Well, my first actual book was when I was 16. And of course it was about the apocalypse. It was set in the far future date of New Year's Eve, 1999. And I had the audacity to print it out and send it to the big 5 publishers. And of course they didn't want it. So that kind of stung, a 16-year-old, they don't really handle rejection well. So I kept writing, but from then on, it was only for myself for a lot of years.
Wow.
Finally, in my 50s, I knew it was I had to either put up or shut up. So I wrote another book. I sent it in to a bunch of different agents and independent publishers. No one wanted it. I then had a really good look at it with fresh eyes, and I realized that, it just wasn't good enough. So I scrapped that, started a new one, and a year later, I sent it to a publisher, and they picked it up. So the very first people I sent it to picked it up, and that was Stage 3.
That was this book right here. Stage 3, Volume 1.
That was picked up by Severed Press. They also wanted number 2, Alpha.
It is.
But then I discovered the indie scene because so many of my friends online were independent.
Yes.
And I wanted to try that. So
yes.
When I wrote Arcadia Falls, I enlisted Eva Lancaster to help. There you go. And Eva knows everything. So she put out such a good looking book, and she markets well. She just does everything, and the cover art as well as hers. So what I did was, because I loved having that kind of control, I went back to Severed Press. I bought the publishing rights for the first 2 books. I wanted control of everything. So now I am truly indie.
Well,
awesome.
Let's start with Stage 3, Volume 1. You want to give us a little synopsis of what the book is about without, giving anything away.
Yeah, maybe you can describe the cover for those that are just listening to the podcast.
The cover is the eye and upper right quadrant of a dead person's face. Blank eyeball. I love that eyeball. In that book, in all the Stage 3 books, there is a virus that comes out of nowhere. It gets described in the 3rd book, but it's really not. You don't really need an explanation for the first book or the second book, really. It's just all about the action. Yeah, it gets explained in Bravo. But for the first book, all we need to know is there's a virus. It doesn't kill right away, but first thing it does is it robs a person of their sight. So you go blind first. Then the virus continues to eat away at the brain, at the higher functions of the brain. And eventually all it leaves is the animal. And all the animal knows is to kill. So they're mortal. They have all the vulnerabilities of a human being, but they want to kill you and eat you. The surprise comes, and the title comes from the next stage of the disease. When that mortal savage person dies, the virus reanimates them. And now and those are the sort of stereotypical slow dead zombies. So the book has both the fast zombies and the slow zombies.
Wow.
2 speeds.
Yeah. So then the 4th volume was Stage 3, Charlie. That was Volume 4.
Yep, that's just out. Yeah.
And how many volumes will there be?
I'm hoping to go right up to Zulu, if I live that long.
Okay. Yeah.
They
Knock
might
on wood.
they might not be all books. Maybe there will be a chapter that's just a short story or a novella or something like that. But I would like to finish the alphabet.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Well, you have your work cut out for you.
you do.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what I'll be doing for the next 20 years.
There you go.
Do you have you started on volume 5 yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's well underway. Plus I have 2 other standalones that are also well underway.
Well, yeah, let's go into some of we already brought up Arcadia Falls. And what is that about?
That came about when I asked my best friend's, at the time, I think maybe 15-year-old daughter, what kind of books do you like to read? And she said something scary with some kind of mystery and a monster. So I said, what kind of monster? You mean like sparkly vampires? She said, no, it has to be new. It has to be a brand new monster.
Oh.
So I went home, I wrote out the outline, and Arcadia Falls. Because it was a request from a younger reader, I kept the language clean, not really for the younger reader, but for the younger reader's parents. So it is listed as young adult horror, just because of the language.
Because most young adults know words that I don't know. So.
And they will use them. Absolutely.
They're, yes, peppered through their speech, actually.
Yeah.
And here's Gaia's Game. What is that about?
That is a standalone. That has to do very much with what you were talking about, the climate crisis, us destroying the world.
Oh, okay.
It seemed to me at the time that we know we're destroying the planet. We know, especially this last year, that, watching the weather, we know what we're doing. We know that global warming is a real thing, but it seems so far off in the distance, and there seems like so little we can do. So instead of making it about the climate, I wanted to drop the horror right in the lap, right in the reader's lap. So there's no preamble. There's no discussion of ecology and save the planet. It is simply the world has declared war on humankind, and she will use any method possible to destroy us.
So we have a few comments that James Ricard said, here we get a face too, not just the voice. And Joseph says, any chance you'll read from one of your books, Penniless? Penniless scribe. We're all penniless scribes, Joseph.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He said he loves to read with a voice in his head, not my own, of course, and not all those others.
As long as one of them is a therapist, you're okay.
If you wanted to read, you're welcome to.
Yes.
I don't think I will today, but if you want to hear my voice, I did an audio book of one of my short stories called "Who's Going to Feed Johnny."
Oh,
okay. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I will get to the other comments, but I want to bring that cover up. Okay. Who's going to feed Johnny? And so when I saw this cover and I read that,
tell us about the cover.
I said to Ken, okay, just the title of this book scares me.
There's a bucket there with red in it.
The audio must be pretty scary too.
Is that tomato soup?
Sure, let's say that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that cover again is all Eva Lancaster. I write the thing, I send it to her, she comes up with the amazing covers, and she will send it back to me, and I fall in love. So that was her first attempt, and it was just perfect. So I mean, how could you improve on that?
And she pretty much does know everything, actually. I've followed her for years too.
And the reason I did the audio book is, first of all, Eva said do an audio book. So of course I chose a short story because I'm lazy. And I chose that one because there's only one voice. So I didn't have to make up voices for a cast of characters.
You didn't have to do... Oh, all right. We've got some good comments. So Joseph loves to read with a voice in his head, not his own, of course, not all those others. And then you said about the therapist, keep that in mind. As far as including humanity, Marjorie Deering is saying this, amidst the horror is concerned, I think that makes for a far more riveting story. Yes. Sure. And Ken said that's what he does. He keeps the humanity amidst the horror. So
I do try.
There's still heart, but unfortunately the heart is in the bucket.
As a matter of fact.
Not too far off, huh?
No spoilers, but there just might be.
And Marjorie says, yes, keep the parents happy. Yeah, exactly. Because they're usually paying for things. And then Joseph says, and this is hilarious. I'm sorry, but it just makes me laugh. I am a therapist.
Well, he was anyway.
And then he says, I was anyway. But that's hilarious. Okay.
Is that really him speaking, though?
Yeah. Which voice was it, Joseph? Anyway, James says, for Ken, do you have any trouble separating yourself from your stage 3 series to write the other books? Oh, when you do the short stories.
No, I have no problem at all. Oddly enough, when I sit down to write the stage 3 books, I'm in that world. I've been in that world for 4 or 5 years now. So it's easy. It's like turning on a light. If I want to write something else and I put that aside, then I am immediately in that other book. It's a little frightening, but hopefully it doesn't lead to any long-term problems. But no, I have no problem switching between books and short stories.
Yeah.
I can read 2 novels at a time, and I know a lot of people can't do that either. But I have I know you don't. Yeah. But
I slug my way through no matter what.
He doesn't mean that the books are not interesting.
No, they're really interesting. It's just like it just takes me a while to digest it all.
Yeah.
I enjoy them so much. I stay in the moment.
That's me. I'm a slow reader too. I absorb.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Good to hear.
So Marjorie Daring says that really is one scary cover, a really cool concept, isn't it? Isn't it in the title too, Marjorie? Who's gonna feed Johnny? Just freaked me out. I was like, oh my gosh.
That is the first and only thing so far that I've written where I came up with the title first and the story followed. I don't know where it came from. It hit me and I immediately had the story, beginning, middle, and end.
We all need to keep on Ken's good side.
Yeah.
And Joseph says, rolling on the floor laughing. Well, you were the one that was funny, Joseph. And Marjorie Daring said exactly that she felt the same way about reading that title. It was just like, uh-oh. What does that mean?
Well, that brings us to a little break time. We've got a whole lot of books to talk about, a lot of stories.
We have a lot more books. Ken has written a lot more books.
And a book giveaway coming up. So let's take our first...
Everybody get prepared to get a book because Ken's going to sign autograph paperbacks.
Yeah, and send them out to you no matter where
you are in the world. So.
Hang on. Don't go away, folks.
Word from our...
They thought the siren was dead. In the novel, Siren Song, by author George Dismukes, James Harmon shot her twice. Several people saw her dead body sinking slowly into the abyss. But now, in Siren Song 2, evidence suggests that she may still be alive.
She killed that boatload of people. It was her! And she's just getting started!
Angie, that's impossible.
The cold chill up my spine tells me it's not impossible. We've got to start all over again. And this time, do it right.
Siren Song 2. The story continues. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Get your copy today.
At Indie Book Source, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today.
In a world where advancing technology is outpacing crime solving, the O'Rourke team continues their relentless pursuit of justice. Bioprints is the first book in the O'Rourke crime novel series where it's high-tech crime versus old-fashioned detective work. Visit carternovels.com or amazon.com and check out Bioprints today.
Welcome back.
We're back.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so we've talked about Stage 3, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. And so those are Alpha Bravo Charlie, and then we're going to go all the way to Zulu.
Not tonight.
No, not. No. Yeah, it would be a 3-hour show.
We talked about Arcadia. And
Arcadia
Gaias
Falls
Game.
and Gaia's Game. And the next one is Miracle Man. There's evil, and then there's him. And this is coming out soon. As you can see, it says cover reveal soon. So this one sounds really scary to me too.
Yeah, I love this book. I absolutely love it. It is, well, of course, every writer thinks their latest thing is their best thing, but this is truly my best thing, and it's what I will have to live up to in the future because I think it is just that good. My usual MO is to drop ordinary people into impossible situations and, watch them squirm, watch them try to survive. With Miracle Man, I took a regular ordinary guy and I turned him evil. And even I didn't know how evil he was going to be. Yeah. But I wanted to, show the balance between good and evil that we all have in us. And, it depends how you're raised. It depends on your experiences. This happens to be a good man who was, I guess, fragile. He acquires a power to heal with a touch. And because there was only one other guy in history that we know of who had that talent, he, instead of emulating him, he kind of goes the other way and he starts making money off it. His girlfriend doesn't like it. She compares him rather unfavorably to that other fella from 2,000 years ago. So the villain of the story, the good man, suddenly gets a hate on for all religion. And he vows to tear down all the old gods. So it's a real plunge through the human psyche. Like I said, I didn't even know how bad he was going to get. My writing day usually starts with rereading what I had written yesterday. It gets my head in the game, and it helps with editing. I would read last night's chapter and think, no, you back it off. Then I would realize, no, this is what you wanted, so stick with it. And of course, now I had to top it. So it was quite a process, but it was a lot of fun and kind of informative.
So do you have any idea when that's going to be out yet?
I believe November.
Oh, cool. That's soon.
The cover reveal I'm really looking forward to as well, because I'm not going to say who it is, but one of my favorite artists agreed to do the book cover.
All right. Good.
And when I dug into his history, I didn't realize it, but he had done a cover for Stephen King. He had done a cover for Clive Barker. So I'm in pretty good company, and that's probably why he was my favorite.
It's really good company, especially for a horror writer, which you are. But what you just said brought up something that we often talk about on the show here, and that is that you didn't even realize how evil he was going to be. And we often talk about how our characters become real and they take off with the story in the direction that we didn't even intend to go on. Which, from your speaking, that's the way you write. But I need to ask, because there will be people who want to know, are you a pantser or a plotter?
Little both. I don't write a rigid outline because I think the story flows more organically if you allow yourself to get from A to B, naturally. Plus, it would be boring as hell to write following the guideline. And I love writing. The last thing I want is writing to become a job. So I know the major plot points. I know the beginning. I know pretty much how it's going to end. There's always some fuzziness towards the end. But I do know all the major plot points, and I just allow myself to get there naturally. Hey,
So Beam Week says, greetings, Carters and Ken. And, it's a good thing Beam's listening and not Steven, because he is a plotter. He's written books about it. And he says it's the only way you can write. And Linda Pirtle also is like that. And I remember when she said something on the show, and I think it was Caleb was on the show, and then Linda said that she's a plotter.
Right.
Caleb is not. And you can hear Steve saying in the background, "I love you, Linda." James Rickard says, "Why write the story if you have it in the outline?"
Yeah, seems like it's twice as much work, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I could never do that. It would just seem like so much work.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of a hybrid ourselves.
Yeah,
we know where we want to go, but the characters really
yeah.
do take you places that you're not anticipating that you're going to go.
Every once in a while, you have to put the brakes on and put a timeline down and make sure that things are happening the way they're supposed to be happening, and then you go on. Make sure you got the right names to the right people and all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to do that. You do have to do that.
I have a pad for every book I write, just with all the details of characters.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
You forget.
You do. I mean, it's
I
a
mean,
process,
you don't want to change the character's name midway through the story. It just isn't form.
Yeah, it really is jarring for a reader. Didn't she have?
It is.
What's
takes them right out of the
having
story.
a dead guy making a suggestion or something.
Yeah. Oops.
Wait a minute, didn't he die back in chapter 10?
Died back then.
Yeah.
It really is.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it really is great though when a character has a mind of their own. It means that you've created them correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you tell them to do something and they say nah, then it's like,
I would never do that. I would never think that.
What's the matter with you, huh?
James says, yeah, it's twice as much work that way.
Yeah.
Oh, Joseph says, good seeing you, Ken. Gotta go. Catch you on Twitter. If you're giving out signed copies of Miracle Man, I'll take one. Catch me via Twitter. Stay safe and well and scary. Hey, Joseph, what you need to do is send into his website and say that you want the free book. Here, let me put up the book giveaway before you go.
Oh yeah, we might as well do it.
The first two who contact me through my website, when you bring up the website, hit contact up top, and just put a book title in the subject line or contest or whatever, and the first two will get whatever book they want.
Whichever book they want. So at the website. So let's go through all of this as long as we're on this now. The website is kenstark.ca because he's from Canada. So it's KENSTARK. Did you just say A?
I had to.
Well, thank you.
Well, if you hadn't have done it, I would have. So I'm really glad that you did that.
You're welcome. I know when I'm talking to Merkins.
Merkins?
Yeah, Merkins. In America, we don't we don't say America. Yeah, my Canadian friends always say they're America's hat. Canada, we're America's hat. Twitter is at Penniless Scribe, and we all understand what that means. And it's PENNILESSSCRIBE.
It's good practice.
And his Facebook is also Penniless Scribe, so that's easy peasy. And I always read those because people are
Let's put the
listening.
website back up there.
I will. I'm trying to get back up there even as we speak. Here it is.
You got it.
Okay, good.
All right, so we'll leave that up there for a little bit. You go ahead and now, if you prefer, ebook, if you like, that's all you read is your ebook. Let Ken know. I mean, you don't have to have the paperback, but
I myself prefer ebooks. I have a Kindle and I have them loaded. As you can, this is a huge pile of books
about
here
a foot and a half
to-
tall
to
here.
keep our little flashlight on there so people can see. It
I'm working
doesn't
my way
turn on
through
and
all
off
of those.
magically by itself.
I'm working my way through all of those.
I know.
Yeah, takes a while.
He likes to have paperbacks, and I like to have ebooks. So we
This is-
often have paperbacks and ebooks of the same
This is
book.
what I'm working on right now. Magnolia Bluff. Great Peanut Butter Conspiracy, written by Cindy Davis. Book 3 in the Magnolia Bluff series. Great series, guys. Love it.
Yep.
Sorry, that was a little
Little
left
plug.
turn there.
No, hey,
Okay,
you're
let's
marketing.
get
Absolutely.
let's get back to your books.
Yeah, how about that? So
uh,
Miracle Man sounds really good, and that is the title. That's not a working title, right?
That is the title. That is not the cover. That is the title.
Yep,
Okay.
not the cover, but that's
and
definitely the title.
And it will be, until it comes out, it will be available for pre-order for 99 cents. So
Okay.
Okay,
if you
That's
think
a
you
really-
might want to read it, that's a pretty good price.
that's the ebook for 99 cents.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a really good deal.
Right.
Miracle Man, there's evil, and then there's him. That sounds like a really good book, because I agree with you. We all have, good and evil, and we can't just say it's the way we are, or it was the way we're raised. We all make choices, and we make good choices and bad choices, and I think sometimes people make bad choices that really brings them down the rabbit hole, and maybe they can't get back out,
Yeah, that's very true. One step in the wrong direction could lead straight down a bad path.
Yeah. Yep. So then we have Billy the Kid, which
I love
we
Billy.
still have your website up there so people can, reach you for the free book.
Okay. Yeah, Billy the Kid was, it's a short story, but it is in the stage 3 canon. It's the same apocalypse. We just don't have the main characters that we have in the stage 3 books. It's about a young kid named Billy.
That's really good.
Now it sounds like a reference to a Western Billy the Kid. Is it tilted that way, or?
Billy is a teenager. I rarely describe people much, so I think I said he's like 12 or 14 or something like that. He is stuck in his room during this apocalypse. His parents are in the living room of their apartment, but they've changed. They are now the monsters. So he is stuck in a high rise in his bedroom, no way to get out. He sees horrors all around on the streets outside. Then he looks directly across, and there's a girl around his age trapped in the bathroom of her grandparents' apartment. So he vows to get to her and save her.
Wow.
So there's, I mean, they say some people say Billy the Kid was a hero. I personally don't believe it, but this kid vows he will do anything to get to her. So he signs on for anything.
So when you say they say Billy the Kid was a hero, you mean the actual Billy the Kid? That
Western,
William,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy the Kid did give a lot of money to the people that lived around him, so they're the ones that said that he was a good guy.
Yeah,
and Bonnie and Clyde did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They were just evil geniuses, because then nobody turned them in, and they let them hide, and
they were just better at PR than most.
Yep.
Why don't we take our break?
Okay, we're gonna have another quick
Get our
little
second sponsor
break,
break.
commercial break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Oops.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
And we're back again.
Welcome back, everybody. And that, don't forget, that show is on right after ours.
Yep.
On Blog Talk Radio. Yeah. Okay. So there was something else I wanted to ask you. We're talking about, we're getting into your short stories right now. And the next one is Born of the Dark. And that sounds really interesting. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
That is about a girl who is shoved down into the basement of her home by her parents and kept there for the next 10, 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
She is eventually discovered and rescued, and she has to fight to stay in the light. Let's just put it that way.
Wow. That's, if that never happened, that would be bad, but it does happen. So that's really bad, Yeah.
What I liked about writing that is I wrote it first person, so I had to talk like a 14, 15-year-old girl who had absolutely no interaction with humans. So it was fun to write, but awful story, but fun to write.
Yeah.
Probably won't have an ebook or an audio book on that very soon, will you?
Oh, no,
Not by you.
maybe if my voice changes.
Yeah.
No,
you could have your friend's daughter read it.
I was going to ask you about that skull in the background. That's not like somebody that you.
No, that
was
is my buddy. That is Eric the Head. Let me see if I can. Eric the Head.
Oh my gosh, that's
He's
cool.
pretty creepy.
There was a bar in town called the Storm Crow Pub. It was known as the Nerd Bar. The walls were festooned with Star Trek stuff and Star Wars stuff and medieval stuff. And between the pandemic, so between the pandemic and road closures around their area, they were forced out of business. So what they did is they put all their stuff up for auction and they gave it to their employees. So I had to get in on that. So I got Eric the Head.
Oh, that's cool.
That's sad, though. I think a lot of small businesses ended that way because of the pandemic, which is really kind of interesting because, your stage 3 is about a virus that,
Yeah. Well, yeah. When I first heard, pandemic, I thought, oh, well, this will be fun. And then lockdown. And while we were on lockdown, you could go drive on the highway, 4-lane highway that is usually bumper to bumper, and I would see 2 other cars. Now that is really freaky. So some part of my mind actually kept thinking, there'll be zombies. Sure, there'll be zombies.
Yeah, no kidding. I bet you did. I mean, it was like that at the beginning. There was no traffic.
Yeah, no, everyone was hunkered down. Everyone was scared to death.
Yeah, I
I
don't
guess
know what we were doing out to know that there was no traffic, but we
Must have been something urgent.
we were out.
I used to go out just to experience it, just to see the ghost town. It was
Yeah.
just so bizarre.
Yeah, because Vancouver is not little,
No, there's a couple million people in Vancouver.
a major city.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where we live is very busy. Tampa Bay is growing by leaps and bounds. Everybody comes down here. Stay away, people.
Go home.
Just
for
kidding.
visiting.
Come on down.
Yeah, come on down. Just go home.
Okay, so I like this next one too, but these are all really good titles, All right. This one is Deadweight.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of cover for you too.
Yeah. Again, I have no say in it. That's not no say. I have no artistic input.
That's better.
Eva did that, and it was beautiful. I'm pretty sure that was her first shot at it, but I guess she doesn't send me something unless she's pretty confident in it. But I love that. And Deadweight is about a guy who has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh yeah.
And so he is losing body function. His brain is perfectly active, but he can no longer control himself, and he has to spend a not so lonely night at home in bed.
Okay.
I have to leave it there.
All right.
Okay.
But just imagine you're stuck in bed and you can't so much as move your head. You're staring up at the ceiling, and that's all you see. That's your entire world.
I know Joseph is no longer in the audience. However, since he used to be a therapist, I understand the appeal of your books now. Yeah, all that stuff. James Rickard says Vancouver is double for LA. Yeah.
They do a lot of shooting here. In my early 20s, I spent a couple of years as a background actor, what we used to call a film extra, a movie extra. So I used to be in all the old original MacGyvers and and Jump Street and
Richard Dean Anderson, one of my favorite actors.
Yeah. They film here, and it's Seattle, it's Washington, it's Virgin River, that's on Netflix. It's
Stargate, wasn't it?
Boston Hospital, Stargazer.
Stargate was filmed there, the whole thing.
Yep.
Joseph Malozzi, one of the producers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any one time, there are a dozen plus shows and twice that many movies filming here.
Lawrence Ray says,
Lawrence.
First time watching the podcast. Hi, Lawrence. Welcome to the audience.
Got a few episodes to catch up on.
Really interesting. He says, it is interesting. You have any questions? You have any other comments besides that comment? Go ahead. We love having questions and comments.
Especially from LinkedIn.
From LinkedIn, yeah.
If you want to throw frozen fruit, Lawrence,
or fruit.
Hey, I'm a writer. I'm not a talker.
Who are we to refute that? Anyway,
very cute.
Anyway, yes, Vancouver is one of the places where a lot of TV series, and especially science fiction ones, have been filmed. Yeah, Richard Dean Anderson must really like filming up there, though, because they did MacGyver up there before he did Stargate, and then there was 10 years of Stargate.
Yeah, he must have liked it. And what's not to like? Vancouver's a gorgeous city.
Yeah.
So I've heard. We used to live in Oregon, but we never got up to Vancouver, I'm sorry to say.
I like Oregon. I like the entire West Coast. It's a gorgeous chunk of land from Alaska to California and into Mexico.
Have you been to Alaska?
No, I haven't.
No, we haven't either.
Had the opportunity to go there, but never did.
But we didn't. Yeah. We chose Tampa instead.
Yeah.
kind of extremes in temperature.
A little
warm
different.
Warm or cold.
A lot of our friends, though, did choose to go.
Everybody
up
that
there.
went there, they can't say enough about it.
They love it. So Rob used to be an air traffic controller before he retired, and a bunch of his friends went up there because you make a lot more money in Alaska if you're an air traffic controller.
Yeah, you get all sorts of
and so they work 2 full weeks on 24/7, and then they get 2 weeks off, and they can afford to take their families to Europe and everything because they're making all that money in those other 2 weeks. So,
and they get extra stipends and stuff.
And they do. They get extra stipends, and sometimes they pay for their housing, and just
all sorts of stuff.
all good. But no, we chose Tampa Bay.
Where you don't have to thaw out after 2 weeks.
Well, when our kids were younger, we did live in upstate New York where it snowed for 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It started snowing in October and would snow until May. And I was driving 6 children to all kinds of things, baton practice and all that kind of stuff. And oh my God, 6 hours in the snow every day. Nope.
I'm not partial to winter myself. Fortunately, Vancouver is very mild in the winter. So
you're in the coast. So you're in a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah,
but then there's Marjorie Daring says, but then there's the Alaska Triangle. Interesting stuff going on there.
That's what
and
we're seeing.
Marjorie, we're all into that. Yes. Ooh, does Canada have any kind of a triangle? Because there's all kinds of triangles everywhere all over the planet. So
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a triangle somewhere. It's a big country, but I haven't heard of any. But we do here in BC, we have Lake Okanagan with supposedly Ogopogo.
Oh, yeah.
Back east, there's another one. Is Lake Champlain in the U.S. or is that in Canada?
There's Champlain and there's Champions is in there, who's supposed to be like the Loch Ness.
Yeah. And there's
we've heard about your lake monster.
And there's supposed to be another one in Nova Scotia. I can't remember the location exactly. Yeah. But we got our monsters and we got our Bigfoots, our Sasquatches.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. Half my wardrobe has Bigfoot on it.
On the back of our truck and everything.
It's on the back of our truck and everything. That's why we say that we are paranormal investigators, not ghost hunters, because I know that we were staying in this place where there's different sites where you can go on and see where this is so sad. I'm so crazy. Where you can see where Bigfoot has been sighted recently. And we were staying in near Sedona, Arizona, in Cottonwood, in Dead Horse Ranch State Park. And there's the Verde River goes through there, and every day Bigfoot was being sighted in the state park on the Verde River, and our trailer was right near there. And my daughter would say, somebody just saw Bigfoot. We never saw Bigfoot. We saw a lot of skunks.
Wasn't what we were looking for, though.
And I don't think I'd want to see Bigfoot up close and personal. Just like I wouldn't want to see any of your monsters up close and personal. I would like to read about them.
Especially the next ones.
Okay, then
this is my favorite title of all your titles.
Horrible Little Nasties. It's another short story. So
yeah, that's about another screwed up individual. This young boy named Lionel lives with his mother, who is OCD. She sees germs, so she is on this cleansing kick 24/7. And she has an influence over him. So he then spends the rest of his life. At one point he then declares, I see them too, Mom. And so his future is set. So he is now with his mom cleaning. She eventually passes away, and it affects him quite severely. And he is convinced that his entire body is riddled with horrible little nasties.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's not for the squeamish.
No, especially, since we were all told to wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
remember when we were wiping down everything that came home from the store? God, it was exhausting.
yeah. That's right.
I'm glad that's over. And then we've got Jitters, a short story.
Yeah, that's kind of self-evident what that's about.
Yeah. Jitter critters.
We live in Florida. That's like not our favorite thing.
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
those big lions.
Cockroaches, palmetto.
Palmetto bugs, yeah.
You get them big down south.
Yeah, they fly.
They
too.
fly. They're
So
called
they're-
palmetto bugs, and they fly.
Yeah.
And you can't kill a cockroach because they carry 1 million babies, and you kill them, and they go everywhere.
Nuclear war can't kill roaches.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true.
That's exactly right. That is absolutely the truth.
You can tear off their head, and they will eventually starve to death. That's the only way to kill roaches.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we have a guy that comes and sprays all the time, so we never see roaches,
No.
and I am very happy.
Yeah.
And then we have Killing Joe Prince. That's another. Well, obviously that's, about killing Joe Prince, but I take it he doesn't die the easy way.
No, that was my homage to Stephen King. Twist on his name. It's about a horror writer who decides that the only way he's going to get to the top to become the new king of horror is to take out the guy at the top. And it may or may not go smoothly.
Oh, that is very, I want to say it's like kind of like a Hitchcock story too,
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I grew up with Hitchcock too. So yeah, there was probably some influence there.
And a little bit of Twilight Zone, because they would do things like that and then suffer the consequences. And yeah.
Life is all about choices.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that was my point about your book, The Miracle Man, is that, you keep making choices, and unless you turn yourself around and make good choices, if you're constantly making bad choices, you can end up in really, really bad places.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting how so many of your books go along with, I think like Jitters goes right along with, COVID, because everybody is a little bit germophobic now, even if they weren't before.
Yeah.
Well, it's more interesting for me that the stories and books were written before COVID.
That is what's interesting.
So when it hit, it's like, well, this seems very familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
There must have been a little bit of, did I do this?
Well, you should have written about winning the lottery. I mean, what are you doing?
We haven't quite gotten to the point of the zombies yet, though.
Yet.
Yeah. Nobody's turned into it. Nobody's gone to stage 4.
Oh.
Let's see.
Sure.
James says, I had to go off for a moment. What was the name of the horror writer killer? Oh, he wants to know.
Joe Prince?
Yeah, Joe Prince.
Killing Joe Prince.
He wants to know, I think,
who the real one was?
Who was killing Joe Prince?
Who was killing Joe Prince?
Yeah, Joe Prince was the horror writer, and he's saying who killed the horror writer.
Joe Prince is my Stephen King, the book's Stephen King. He's the king of horror. Hence Prince. I don't remember the character's name. Who's out to kill. He's a nobody. He's a hack writer. So I have no idea. He's on a pad somewhere. I got his name on a pad.
This is why we keep those pads, because it is really easy, and it's embarrassing to say, but James said that's it. He gets it.
Yeah.
Yep. The Joe Prince, Stephen King. It clicked for James.
So we talked about the Miracle Man coming up.
Yeah.
And then on your stage 5?
No,
stage 3,
he's
book 5.
Finished stage 3.
When does that one come out?
Oops. Sorry.
It will be in the spring sometime.
Is that Delta?
Delta, yep.
Delta. So that won't be until the spring. Okay.
Yep. Right. So Miracle Man in the fall, probably November, and then There will be the next stage 3 in the spring, and there will probably be something else later in the year.
Okay.
Cool.
I spent a lot of time writing.
That's good, though.
We see that.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I would like to have one stage 3 book every year, plus something else, a standalone of some kind.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, that is a lot of writing. It's about how many words is one of your stage 3 books? Do you know? I mean, I know we all know, but remember.
The first was in the 90,000 plus. The second one I went a little long. I think it was like 110. I try to keep them around 100,000. That's a good length.
So that's a lot of words.
Yes, it is.
Needless to say, in your genre, you probably lose a lot of your main characters, right?
Yeah, actually,
on a regular basis, right?
Yeah. I have to keep weeding them out.
Yeah, so don't get too attached to them. Key, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give away spoilers for his books. Let people read them and figure out.
Anyone who reads horror knows what they're in for.
There you go.
This is true.
This is what I'm saying.
And knows what happens when there's a zombie apocalypse. A lot of people die. I did want to mention again the book giveaway. The first 2 people to contact Ken on his website will win a signed paperback copy of choice, and doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah,
and this is his website.
I want to encourage everyone who's listening or watching this after this live broadcast.
Go ahead and
if you're not watching it live, go ahead and email, contact Ken on the website. See if there's any. Sometimes the books don't go claimed. Sometimes he feels generous. You never know. He always wants to hear from you anyway. So give it a shot. And if you've missed it, you've missed it. But if not, you may win a book. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Either way, I want to hear from you.
Yeah. There you go. So even if it's a week from now, go ahead and give it a shot if you really are interested.
Please.
So I did want to mention this flashlight has been ready to go and in position for 5 hours, and it's never turned on by itself. And my point is, when we do the flashlight, something is turning it on that you can't see and is answering questions intelligently.
If there's anybody here that would like to communicate with us, would you turn the flashlight on right now?
I think the real point is no dead people want to see me.
They don't want to hear about you because you write books about them.
Well, this is their opportunity to shine the light on you.
But I'll tell you what, when all of a sudden, this flashlight gets turned on and it does this.
Yeah, direct answer to a question.
And then you say, if you're a male, will you please turn the flashlight off? And then it goes off with nobody touching it. It's pretty startling every time. And we've been doing this for a long time, and still every time. And
then it still has to stand the test of time.
Yep.
If one time
we do.
Could be a coincidence.
Yep.
Right.
We ask more questions, get more responses, direct responses. It still doesn't mean that it is who it is,
say they are,
who they are, or if you're even asking the right
it's
question.
Some kind of energy.
Some energy is turning on and off that light. Mm-hmm. That's all we know.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. But we do go back and we will repeat questions to make sure we're getting consistent answers and stuff. Because we really do investigate.
We usually have a digital recorder right near the flashlight, so that if someone is able to say something, they can, and we'll catch it on the digital. And we have caught voices on, making comments, making statements, saying their names. On our digital recorder before that we have not heard with our ears. That's been nobody else there, You're
talking about.
Go ahead, Ken.
I was just saying, is that what you're talking about? EVPs?
Yes.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how we found out the name of the man who we told you about in the pre-show who had died in Jacksonville. He told us his name.
Yeah.
Then we were able to look it up in the obituaries, and by gosh, he had.
He was there.
I don't know if I would believe everything a spirit says, because there's there are going to be some jerks that die.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's jerks and death
Yeah.
and right?
Yeah.
Someone's just going to be playing with you.
Jerks
Yeah.
die and bad people die. Miracle Man probably dies at some point. So, they're not all hearts and flowers. Yeah. So, and plus, I think probably there's some that just want to really yank your chain.
Yeah.
If you want to reach Ken on Twitter, @PennilessScribe. If you want to reach him on Facebook, PennilessScribe. We're getting a theme here. And his website, of course, again, is kenstark.ca.
Because he's from Canada.
Just a warning, I'm not on Facebook very much, but you can always find me on Twitter or on my website.
Yeah, I've noticed you're not on Facebook very much, but
And we're
LinkedIn
the opposite.
too. You're on
We're
LinkedIn, right?
Pardon me?
Are
You're
you
on LinkedIn too.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. No, I guess I didn't see you on there. Never mind. Maybe it was Joe Prince.
There you go.
Oh boy.
The funny thing is, we do actually know a Joe Prince,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
a preacher and a singer. Isn't
Tell him
that
I'm
funny?
I'm not after him.
It's like, no, Joe, it's not you.
One thing I'd like to ask you, and I usually ask all of our guests, what advice would you have for somebody who would like to start writing in the horror genre? Any advice for them?
Everyone who wants to write, I will always say, just write. Do it your own way. Do your own thing. Listen to other people, sure, but be selective. Take this thing of what this guy says and part of what this lady says, and just mix it all up and do it your way. When it comes to horror, there are as many ways to write horror as there are writers. What I find best is, it doesn't matter first person or third person, but I think what works best is a single voice. It doesn't have to be for the whole book, but for a chapter at a time, it really works well. Because with horror especially, you don't want to know what's coming. You don't want to know what's around the next corner. And if you're reading it and you're jumping from one head to another, to another, to another, maybe even into the villain's head, then there's still an entertaining story, but there's no more shock. There's no more surprise because you know exactly what's coming. If you have one voice, like the Stage 3 books, especially the first 2, 3, are all one voice through the entire book. So what that character knows, which is just what they see, just what they've experienced. They have no idea what's around the corner. They have no idea if, they're going the right way or the wrong way. So that really works well for horror.
And we didn't touch on that. Point of view is very important for an author. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your point of view is that one person.
Yeah. I find it really works well, especially with horror.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, if you have a favorite thing that creeps you out, if you hate heights or bridges or spiders, write about that.
Yeah.
If it freaks you out, you know exactly what that character's going through.
Right.
So let that be the first
experience. Yeah, first-hand experience, right?
Yeah. Like, if you hate spiders, if you see one on your leg, exactly what your body's going to go through and how you're going to react.
You should be able to describe it and make it creepy for other people too.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let them know the creepiness that's going around in your head.
For me, it would definitely be cockroaches and palmetto bugs. They freak me out to the max. They really do.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
They're icky and they carry diseases.
Yes, they do.
Well, want to thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight, visiting with us. So it was good to meet you, especially after all these years, because we have retweeted you for years. And it's good to get to know you.
Yeah,
it was great being here. Good to know you too.
Yeah, good to know that you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
Or I can play one on TV.
Because of the books that you write.
Right. Yeah, that's helpful, right?
Ooh.
I'm gonna move you over, and
all right. See you all.
Thank you so much, and we'll join you backstage in just a few minutes here.
Have a comment.
We do. Let's see what we got there.
Okay.
Hey, James.
James says, Thanks, Joan, Rob, and Ken. Thank you, James. Thanks for being in the audience.
The only thing do you have anything you want to add here? Or?
Nope.
Okay. The only thing I have is coming up. Tomorrow is September. So that in mind, September's lineup is out. We'll have it on our website tonight. Next Wednesday, the 7th, we'll have guest author Annie Miles. On the 14th, we have pre-record because we're going to be traveling a good portion of September. New episode 74 on the 14th is James Welpley. Awesome author.
Oh,
we had a really good time
is.
with him.
He really is. He writes really interesting books too. Yeah.
And then on the 21st, a pre-record with Shaniqua Karanja.
Oh, yeah. And she's
Very
great
insightful.
too. Yeah.
And on the 28th, we have Shara Lewis Campbell on another pre-record. So
she's from London.
She's from the UK. And then we'll be back on October 5th. It will be our next live show for the Magnolia Bluff reveal for part 3 for the next 3 books, Linda Pirtle, Kelly Marshall, and Jinx Schwartz. And those are the last of the this year's Magnolia Bluff series.
But there will be a second series, people. But I do have something to say after all, is that we'll be doing paranormal investigations in September. We're going to be doing them in 3 different ones in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And actually the station manager said, why don't we go ahead and do a live feed of that? So we may be doing...
If we can engineer it.
If we can engineer it, we may live stream some of our investigations. One I know we won't because they charge television money for us to do a live feed from their place, so that's not happening. And but the other places we can do a live feed. And one of our daughters said, and she's actually very right, she said, I hope your audience is going to understand there's going to be a lot of dead air. Get it? But yeah, it's a lot of hours of nothing happening, and then sometimes a whole bunch of stuff
sort
happening.
of like this flashlight tonight. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
But the ghost showed up. So.
Yeah.
At any rate.
So anyway, we'll be letting you know about that if we decide that that's
website.
something we can do. Yep.
Yeah. So until next time.
That's all, folks. Good night.
Night.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.